Hello, my name is Edbert Abebe. Welcome to another episode of my Leadership Behaviour Podcast. In this episode, I'll be examining the concept of leading beyond titles, redefining authority in leadership. Yeah, you can lead beyond titles. Authority is important in the practice of leadership, but it's not enough. One of the reasons, in my opinion, why effective leadership is scarce in our daily lives is that many people think, or better still, act as if having authority equals the exercise of leadership. So I'm going to start off by giving you two quotes. And the first is by Ronald Heifetz, one of my mentors. And he says, holding a position of authority does not mean you are leading. Leadership is about mobilizing people to make progress on complex challenges. And the second quote I'll give to you is by Dean Williams from his book, Real Leadership. He says, real leadership is not about wielding authority. It's about helping people adapt and grow in the face of tough challenges. So I'm going to give you 6 or 7, concepts about authority in relation to leadership. And the first is that authority can be formal or informal. We know so much about formal authority because it is visible and attracts attention. A new manager or CEO in an organization, the election of a local councillor, a member of parliament, the prime minister or president of a country. Examples of informal authority are the roles of a father, a mother, a guardian, a religious leader, a lawyer, or a doctor, or an individual in a team or group who has gained some level of authority as an expert in a particular area. In both of these cases, the basic definition of authority exists, which is power is given in exchange for service. More people occupy positions of informal authority than formal authority. We need to pay attention to the building of informal authority because this helps ensure that leadership is practiced. Informal authority comes from being respected, trusted, or relied upon, often due to expertise or relationships. Sometimes in the group, there's always someone people turn to for advice. And even if it's not the leader in quote, that person holds informal authority because of their wisdom or reliability. A manager in an office should not rely on formal authority alone, but seek to build informal authority as well. I have watched over the years with admiration how some individuals, even though they no longer hold formal positions of authority, still retain the informal authority built whilst in those positions. The second point I want to talk about in relation to authority and leadership is that authority is a social contract and it's essential for social living. Authority relationships are essentially contracts for services in which somebody entrusts power to another in exchange for service. People are designed to do that. We are designed to be social creatures. We are born into the world expecting to entrust authorities, initially our parents, with power, with the expectation of trustworthy care. It's not possible to have organizational life starting with the family unit all the way to the national level without authority structures. In fact, our social living will be hindered if layers and structures of authority are compromised or if authority is abused. These social contracts are mostly informal, but all the same carry the implicit authorization of an authority figure to render certain services. Talking about social contracts, I was watching a documentary recently about the Saudi Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman, MBS as he's fondly called, where it was said that some sort of a social contract was struck with the people. He will use his power and resources to effect reforms and provide services that the people were beginning to yearn for. And in exchange, they must learn not to question him about how he uses the power or about any issues relating to human rights, freedom of expression, and the like, because there is always some form of a social contract. And the third point I'd like to present to you is there is trust in authority. Trust forms the foundation of any authority relationship as people rely on the authority figure to provide stability, protection, and direction. When authority is abused, trust and confidence are lost and it becomes difficult to lead. Isn't it interesting that when candidates contest for positions, an essential factor that the polls want to reveal is the level of trust each candidate has with the people on different societal issues? Maintaining trust in authority relationships are so important that the state is ready to step in to protect the vulnerable from abuse. Earlier in the week, I read that a particular organization in the country had agreed to pay the sum of $880 million to settle claims brought by the victims who were abused by authority figures within the organization. Unfortunately, this abuse involved vulnerable children and young adults. They expected protection, but they got abused. It's a gross misuse of authority. The fourth point to present to you is that authority is a tool. Authority is a tool to aid. It aids in the work of leadership. It's a means to an end and not an end in itself. Authority provides an opportunity to get work done. When someone gets elected or appointed to a position, as much as it calls for celebration, it should much more call for reflection and preparation in readiness to get work done. Authority figures do not know everything, and being in the position presents an opportunity to learn. Power and authority attracts much attention in our world, but they must always be seen as tools for serving others. The former U.S. President Joe Biden, in his last speech to the United Nations General Assembly, commented on his decision not to seek a second term. He said, "My fellow leaders, let's never forget, some things are more important than staying in power. It's your people. Never forget, we are here to serve the people and not the other way around." Some leaders act as if gaining authority is the ultimate, forgetting that it's meant to be used to serve others. And my fifth point is that authority is both a resource and a constraint. Having authority allows you to make decisions and enforce rules, but it also limits you. You are expected to stay within the boundaries of what the group wants, which can make innovation difficult. In interrogating leadership challenges or why exercising leadership is sometimes difficult, we should ask the question, what is it by virtue of being the senior person may make it more difficult to lead? Have you wondered why sometimes the bigger the authority, the less leadership we get from the authority figures? The bigger the authority, the less leadership we'll see practice. Even the U.S. president, who is considered to be the most powerful man on the earth, has to contend with several constraints to his authority. Authority is never given in isolation. It is exercised in relation to the authorizers who might not be willing to go where the authority figure wants to go. Some would argue that some of the actions of the current U.S. President Donald Trump exceeds his authority, and so relevant institutions of state must step in to ensure checks and balances are in place. A subject for another day. I want to leave you with a reflection. In what ways have your over-reliance on formal authority hindered your practice of leadership? Are you the leader John Maxwell refers to as the level 1 leader, who members of your team follow because they have to, not because they want to? Level 1 leaders try to use the rights granted by the position to get the people to act. He says position is a poor, John Maxwell says position is a poor substitute for influence. And then I want to give you an action plan. Consider and decide on the skill or behavior going forward that you need to build to enhance your exercise of formal authority. Is it trust, connection, reliability, ability, the ability to listen, vulnerability, respect? Think about how you need to build your informal authority. I hope you found today's episode useful. Thank you so much for watching. Think about the reflection and also the action plan. And I look forward to coming your way in the next episode. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you.